Thank you very much. Thank you to the UMC Council for putting this on. Fantastic. I've had a look down already and really impressed with it. I'd like to also thank Carmen Reed for helping put together, and David, as well as Deborah Sweeney for putting me in touch with Carmen. Then my photographs to be shown downstairs. So I was 26 years old, 25 years old. From Geelong, I worked in a studio, commercial studio, and then I was also a musician with a band. So Sunbury was a magnet to me to come. So in '73, 4 of us got in our VW Beetles and came to the '73 Sunbury. I can remember a very hot day and trudging along the road from the car park to the hill, which then went down to the stage area. Probably 2 years before that, I had bought my second camera that I owned, which is this one here. This is analog, not digital. So my trusty Nikon F was with me the whole day, and so I ended up probably photographing the people on the hill and then down to the stage area. This is in '73. I guess as a photographer, I guess we as photographers are not really there to enjoy it, although we're driven to record it. We're seeing it through the lens, so it's more like work, I guess, in some ways. It's very hard to describe it, but many times I can remember people, my families, telling me to put the camera away and just enjoy the day, wherever we're travelling, whatever. But as a photographer, you are driven to photograph. So I was photographing the whole day and that night. In 1974, again, my wife and I, my wife Jen, made the trip again to Sunbury. General crowd shots again, and then the main stage through a media pass from Odessa, Jen, because she was in the music industry, so she arranged that. I was standing probably a metre or two away from the biggest PA system I'd ever encountered. Couldn't hear very much at all as far as the music, but when the unknown UK band came on stage, I was probably more interested in the way they were dressed. They were like silver and black, and they had makeup on, and probably nothing like any of the other bands that I had seen on that stage. So they were quite different. So again, I could not remember any of the sound because it was just quite loud. So I was also unaware of any hostility towards the band. I could read lots of stuff about the band, but I didn't hear any of that from where I was standing. So 12 rolls of film was shot on that particular day, and then back to Geelong, and that particular night, on Monday night, I had this horrible feeling that I did a count back of my rolls of film, and I thought I had actually lost the film for one of my rolls. So my wife very generously the next day drove back to Sunbury, back to the stage, where it was all being cleaned up, and searched for that roll of film, but it was never found. So it may have been there, it may not be. Somebody might have been lucky to get it. So after that, I basically developed all those negatives and didn't do anything with them at all. So it was probably a year later, while I was slaving away in the darkroom, and I heard Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody on the radio, and I was really stunned because it was nothing like what I'd heard on the day. I'm not sure people that were here heard the band and what it sounded like, but for me, I couldn't hear anything. But yes, I was very impressed with the sound of them. So, but basically, those negatives sat dormant for 45 years. I didn't do anything with them at all until I had some Queen photographs on a website of mine, and David Tennenbaugh from Melbourne Books contacted me to see if I could, or he could use some of the prints or the negatives for Peter Evans's book. So I was very happy to give him permission to use those, and you can see those if you've read the book, you would have seen them. I've also put together a book of my photographs, which was 300 or so photographs of as well of all their albums. I would like to thank Peter Evans for his time in helping me sort out who some of these bands were and some of the people that were in the audience. Some of them were quite well known. in the front area. So thank you, Peter, for that. I guess the other thing was when I was post-producing the photographs, I spent a lot of time spotting and cropping and all that sort of thing. I can remember being quite sad 45 years later, looking at these incredibly young, fit guys that were on stage, but mostly in the audience, and thinking they must be old now, like I am, but possibly a lot of them may not even be here. So I was sort of going through that stuff, hundreds of hours of doing that work. So I just again want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and to have my photographs shown, and thank you everybody for keeping the Sunbury dream alive. Thank you.